Why do people feel the need to be cunts in comments? YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and people are always on YouTube looking for instructional videos on how to do things or to learn something new. The whole point really these days is you come onto YouTube because there's something you don't know and you want to know it. And it constantly amazes me how many people under a video in a comment section will be like, oh, duh, who didn't know that? And then there's always a dozen other people who are like, wow, that was fantastic knowledge. I did not know that, and now I do. Thank you so much. But here's the point. You are not born with knowledge. And while sometimes you can hear something again and again, and yeah, you're like, fuck, who doesn't know that? At some point, you didn't know that. It was new to you. It was a thing that you learned. And I think all of us forget sometimes, and we get impatient, that we're not born knowing things. We had to learn them. We had to go through a process, whether that was somebody told us a story or we were interested in something and we looked it up. And sometimes there's multiple different ways to learn things and multiple different ways to do something. And we should be more patient and more giving in our knowledge. When people meet me, I think because I'm a former child actor and people just expect that we're like stupid or something, they're always kind of surprised at my level of intelligence. And I take pride in the fact that I enjoy studying. I enjoy learning things. Like my favorite books as a kid was the Encyclopedia Britannica. And when I was an Intel analyst, I learned that things, like if there's something on Twitter or on YouTube, I don't just take it at face value. I find that thing, and if it piques my interest, or like before I retweet it, I will actually Google whatever it is and go and look it up and see if it's real or if it's clickbait bullshit. I used to do a podcast in Australia. I was on it for like 3 years, and I was living in the US at the time, and everybody else was in Australia. And sometimes there was things that I genuinely did not know because it was a local thing. But I also learned that when I played dumb, people kind of liked it. Not because I was being a stupid blonde or anything like that, but because I learned to assume that not everyone who was listening to the podcast knew what we were talking about. And so I would ask sometimes stupid questions, or I would say, explain it to me like I'm a child. Because if there were things that I didn't understand, there was obviously things that plenty of other people may not have known what they were. And it's perfectly fine. Even if you do know what something is, you can ask a question, ask a leading question. People love to impart knowledge and information. So even if you kind of know or you fully know, you can ask someone to explain it to you, because number one, maybe someone else in the room does not have this knowledge and they are afraid to ask. But by asking for them, you've now given them the knowledge and given them the ability to learn without them having to say, hey, I feel stupid because I don't know this. The other thing is, people love it when you ask them to explain things. It's like the best way to make people like you is by asking them things. Instead of saying, yeah, I already knew that. Like, who the fuck doesn't know that? If you say, hey, that's really cool, can you tell me more? People really like it. So you should try that. But I am constantly on YouTube and Google and Twitter, and I am always searching for new information, whether it's something that I already know, but I want to know more or better, or if there's a different way of doing something, or it's just something that's completely brand new to me and it's like piqued my interest, or like my husband's like, I need you to go Google this because like you're better at research than I am, because I am very patient and I drill down into things. Like he calls it rabbit holing. But if there's somebody who says something, I'm going to go and I'm going to look for it. I'm not going to look in one place. I'm going to find like 20 different places and see all the different ways that they've said these things, because everybody has an opinion, everybody has a way of doing something, and you can go through all the ways. Like the whole saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It's true, because just because you know one way doesn't mean it's the only way. So stop being dickheads and being mean to people on social media, because yeah, maybe somebody asked a stupid question, but really, there's no stupid questions. I mean, everybody learns something for the first time at one point. And we can all be kinder to each other. We can all be nicer to each other. And if you know it, if you're so smart that you know it, that like your retort is, duh, like who the fuck doesn't know that? Maybe instead of being a dick, you should explain it or make a video where you explain your version of how to do this or your knowledge on this. And just be kind, impart that knowledge. If you are so wise and wonderful and full of like all of this knowledge, share it. You don't need to gatekeep the smarts. If you're in a meeting and you're with younger people and you can see that lost look in their eyes when somebody's talking about something, you are free to say, hey, let me explain this. Let me ask a question. If you know they are uncomfortable because they don't want to look stupid, take one for the team. I do it all the time. I ask stupid questions because I can see when somebody else is like not feeling like they know, and like I don't care what people think of me if they think I'm smart or dumb. So I'll stand up and be like, what does that mean? How do we do that? Can you explain this further? It's fine. And people like it when you're curious. And I don't know everything, but I do know how to Google it. Anyway, that's my rant for today. Be kind to each other out here. The internet's an ugly, mean place, and we're all just trying to get through life. So just be nice to